does that deter from actual other spiritual programs that take place there?
One thing I find interesting is a friend of mine was doing some research as to about colloquy and worship requirements, even here at PUC in the Heritage Room here in the library. And she told me that she found that it hasn't always been called colloquy. I think it was only since a little after the year 2000. Before that, it was chapel. And I think we're still going through this transition from a required chapel every Thursday or a chapel every Thursday to colloquy that's not a religious program, if I'm not mistaken. And one thing that I think it may be confusing in the minds of us students is that many people still I call it chapel. Most of us still call it chapel. Sometimes my mind goes back to one time this year when there was a praise team up there leading out in songs, and then someone came and gave a secular talk. So these things, a combination of things, can cause somewhat of a confusion. What to do about it, I don't know. To be honest, I really think that the reason we're having it is in the sanctuary is because it's the only building on campus that can essentially hold the whole student body and the faculty all at once. So it's something I think we definitely need to look into.
And you're right about that, Justin, about this space. Let me back up, say two things, and then I'll finish with the space issue. You know, the person who wrote the email asked a question: when was the last time it was totally a spiritual program where we're really focused on God? Well, the answer was today. We had Randy Roberts speak. It was just incredible. Very, very spiritual program. Some great music, uplifting. So there are spiritual aspects of the program. The name colloquy, not to get academic on you, but colloquy actually is a Latin word that means theological discussion. And so they're still keeping the spiritual tone even within the name, even though most students mispronounce it, much less probably don't know what it means. But as far as where we're at with having non-spiritual things during that time, every college campus has to have some programming that wouldn't be considered spiritual in nature, but it's part of family life. It's part of community. We have to have essay speeches. We have to deal with certain things, and we have to have a place to meet. It's my hope, and I'm sure it's the hope of the administration, that things such as the development program that they're involved in now, and hopefully having this huge endowment to allow us to build places, to allow us to upkeep the places that we have, but to have a place that we can actually all fit in. There's no other place on campus for us to meet as an entire school. There's just no other option. And so it is an unfortunate circumstance that within the sanctuary we have to have some secular business part of our community, but I think that's probably why there is less of a respect as far as the students coming in. A student just said to me today, have you noticed how many guys are wearing hats in the sanctuary? And I just had noticed during the winter revival how many guys were coming in with hats. And although I don't think that's a sin, I do feel like, it is a special place. So we should do extra things to protect the sanctity of the sanctuary. That's why I created the signs. You're entering the waiting area. And then the other signs, you're entering sacred space to try to remind us, even though different business happens as a family community, that doesn't always, it's not expository based on a text all the time, that we are a spiritual community, and we're sitting there in God's house doing family business together.
Okay. Well, awesome. That's all the time that we have for this portion of this topic. We're going to continue on, talk about maybe some of the solutions to some of the problems that were raised, and maybe address a couple other issues next week. So I really want to thank both Justin and Pastor Rice for coming on the show this week.
Thank you.
And stay tuned. We have Larissa who's going to bring you some campus news as well as a couple other segments. So we look forward to having you tune in next week. Thanks for watching.
Hey everyone, my name is Larissa Ramslin, editor of the Campus Chronicle, and here's what's going on. This Saturday night at the Vacaville Ice Rink, your essay will be sponsoring Broom Ball at 7 p.m. There is a $2 cover charge, and you can stop by the Campus Center for directions or more information. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to sign up for the essay ski trip, which is February 8th until the 11th. Sign-ups are in the Campus Center as well, and you can put it on your school bill at the cashier's office. It is $60. Again, my name is Larissa Ranslin, and that's what's going on.